George, welcome to CFO Unplugged.
Wow, I didn't know the name. That's a cool name.
It took me a while to come up with a name. Now people are still asking me what's the podcast about. Whatever I want it to be. I
Because you are the CFO.
yeah, it's gives me room to do whatever I want. It's kind of like the idea of Diary of a CEO. He said the reason why that he does what he does and who he brings on, it's all things that he's interested in. So when he has people come onto his podcast, it's items that they're topics that he's interested in rather than where I think there's a lot of people who are doing podcasts that I think get to a point where you're doing what you're being told to do versus, hey, these are topics that he's interested in and he's going to continue to pursue them until he's ready to move on to something else.
Absolutely. Yeah. Probably keeps it interesting for him and for me. So you were asking what we were going to talk about. So I'm not going to, I could easily start to not let you talk about what you want to talk about and start
No, I love
conversations.
we always have interesting conversations. I know what prompted me to have you come on is one, we have interesting conversations, but whenever I think of George, I think there's somebody who understands connection and understands how to build relationships and how to I would say this probably helps you in the fact that you are in a sales job. Huge. So if I think of, hey, I need an attorney I need a contract attorney. I don't have anybody in my Rolodex. Who am I going to call?
We talk about networking. I can't not talk about Irving Spac, a beautiful Jewish gay man from San Francisco who just like he lived networking. He was a networker. He just, you met him, you suddenly have a moment with him that you're like, wow, I'd like to know you longer, to know you and know you more. And it was the kind of thing where uh, he I rode his coattails into the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce in my early 20s. I knew how to wear a suit and a tie and be charming, and he taught me the rest. And ultimately, what was beautiful about him is that, it was really just at its simplest, it was take care of people and they take care of you,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he just showed me that over and over again. And the most amazing thing, if I just fast forward a few years, there was no BNI when he was showing me networking. This was like early 90s.
Did you ever, when you said you were riding his coattails, what did that mean? You just followed him into Chamber of Commerce, or what do you mean by that?
So the first thing he did was invite me to an early morning mastermind meeting. Like, oh man, you gotta get me up at what time? What?
You do that to me.
But Napoleon Hill wrote a book, and in one of his books, it was get together with like-minded individuals in a morning meeting and help each other be successful. And that was sort of what I remembered. And then he became he actually walked into the Chamber of Commerce, and they had one networking group that met like twice a month with like 10 members. And he said, oh no, we can do better than this. And he literally like took over the program. And within like 6 months, they had 3 groups or 4 groups with like 30 members each who were meeting every week. So to answer your question, I walked into the chamber and just saw all this happening. I just watched him leading groups. And
What did you see him do differently than others?
be genuinely interested and curious about individuals and not be afraid. Like he was a coach. He wasn't afraid to get uncomfortable with people or make people feel uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And that was something I didn't mind doing either. I actually always have enjoyed having, like, if people, you meet somebody at a cocktail party and they're like talking about sports. I don't even watch sports. I mean, I watch FIFA like crazy now, and I do it more now. But back then I went dancing. I worked my day jobs, whatever 3 jobs I had, and if I met somebody at a club or at a cocktail thing, I'm asking them about their heart and soul, or something that makes, something that feels
Not
like we,
surface level. You
no,
were
no, no,
skipping
sir.
over surface
Absolutely.
level, yeah.
Yeah. Skipping over service level, and just like having people say like, wow, I've not ever, I just met you and I've not talked about this in a long time, because it just feels like we may never have this moment again. Who knows if I'll see you again?
So it's taking that moment to actually connect with that person rather than I think what a lot of people will do when they go into a networking function or they're going into a conference or a situation where they're meeting new people, it's very easy to get stuck in your head and think about what's in it for me rather than going into the situation where for me it's is there somebody I can meet in this room that can help a client that I'm working with, or is there someone there that I can help them? And not about trying to line my pocketbook or try to find my next sale. It was more about who can I meet in this room that I can help support and or again support a client of mine.
You put it so eloquently and so beautifully. And I think that, um, that's something you have to, yeah, you have to grow into that.
Mhm.
And it's okay to walk into a room and think, how many business cards can I get? Who can I get an appointment with? Because that's a natural instinct. Like, I've got a job, I'm being paid. Maybe I'm an entrepreneur and I'm trying to start my business and I got to find clients. So it's counterintuitive to like, what's in it for me, to your, uh, to think exactly how you're saying. And I think it's something that it's okay to not feel like you have to be able to do that. Just being able to go into a room and learn, going back to Irv, right? Like,
Mm.
I wrote his coattails, meaning, like, let's say I'm a new business owner and somebody says, come to this networking event, and you hate being around people, or you don't like, that's not your thing, right? But don't be afraid to to ride their coattails and go into that room and just be whatever you're going to be, experience what you're going to experience, and then take it to the next level after that. Being able to go in there and just, how can I find someone who can help one of my clients? That's pretty high level.
Oh man,
That's a giver's gain, to quote BNI.
I think what that helped me do is take the pressure off of myself and anxiety and that for me I would get anxiety around it because I thought at that I was young when I started doing the networking and didn't realize how anxious I would get in those moments because I thought I had to look a certain way, I had to speak a certain way, I had to be a certain way, when in reality, when I took myself out of the equation and said, okay, what's my goal in coming to this event? I have a client that needs help with this. Okay, my goal is to find somebody who can help my client with this thing that they're struggling with. And all of a sudden, it was a much easier to connect with people because now I'm there to get to know them more, understand who they are, their personality, how they work. And at that point, I would be looking at, okay, would this person mesh well with my client? Yes or no? And again, I think from there, it took that pressure off of myself.
Absolutely. And I just want to anybody who's watching this and maybe they're a young networker, I see that that's a place that you can get to, and it does take the pressure off. But it's the kind of thing where, don't have, just go to the event. Just
Mhm.
dive into a networking experience and be wherever you are with it, because you can only learn from there. And it's amazing. Like, um, I've been a member of, going back to Irv from earlier, he helped me understand the basics of networking, but he had never been to a like formal networking group. And I got to actually invite him. I left town, came back in the early 2000s, and joined a BNI, my first one. And I thought, who am I going to invite? I'm going to call Irv. And
Mhm.
he had never been to a BNI. And of course, he came in and became he built relationships, became an amazing member. But I got to introduce him to BNI where he had never been to one before. And what was really interesting in these groups is that people who actually dive in and are at maybe a beginner's level, if the group is supportive, which most supportive BNIs are, the ones I was a part of, um, you can see people's growth over the time. Like this is one gal, her husband passed away. She took over the business and just sort of was, you know, didn't know sales, didn't know
Mhm.
anything. And she literally could barely speak. Like she'd get up to talk because you have to get up and speak about yourself for 45 seconds. She could barely speak. But within like 4 years, she was the president,
Mhm.
leading the whole thing. And she was still learning like we all were. But in those groups, you're going to get a chance every week to come and practice,
Mhm.
right? You're going to get to practice how to become a better speaker, how to learn how to just encapsulate your business in a 45-second presentation. And you're not going to be good at it first.
I'm curious, what do you think makes a good networking group? Because I've been to a handful in my past that you can I think you can tell the difference between a group that is moving and shaking and a group that is stale. What do you think is the difference
I'm going to
between the
answer
2?
your question, but I want you to tell us what is that moving and shaking? When you see a group that's moving and shaking, what's the room feel like? Because I'm going to answer your question, but you're going to help me answer.
Okay.
What is it that you feel in the room when people are moving and
I
shaking?
would say, moving and shaking room, I would say there you probably remember this, you've invited me to a handful of BNI
Yeah.
at, events, and I usually graciously declined
Yeah, but occasionally.
occasionally, but I did show up for one, and it was this specific group. It felt like the room were folks that I say are movers, shakers because what they did that I would not see at other events is you might have people come up and meet maybe come to you and introduce themselves, but I specifically would say I had at least 6 or 7 people reach out to me after the actually reach out to me after the meeting, and this is during, I think, COVID when we were still doing stuff through Zoom, but they were intentional about building the relationship rather than they weren't looking to sell their services to me. They were more interested in building a relationship. So to me, that felt more genuine and that felt like, okay, these are more of my style of approach versus maybe a stale group where it feels like people are just meeting to have coffee and chit chat.
You did a great job of answering your own question. Thank you. And I mean, a group of people who are focused on it's so interesting, right? Like if you walk up to somebody and you just genuinely say, "Hey, what do you do?" Right? Are you asking and listening? Or are you just asking to then say, "Oh, you can do nothing for me." Right? Do the people in that room genuinely seem to be enjoying each other's company?
That makes a big difference
It's
too.
so simple, but so because if you're sort of, and it can be difficult because you're sort of trying to like be the business person and shake the hands and say the right thing. But really, it should feel like, dare I say, family? Dare I say like they're enjoying themselves?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's the most basic, right? Like, is the room feeling like there's an energy that makes you want to come back to it?
One thing that I have found with networking groups, and probably why I've avoided staying connected with networking groups, there's a couple reasons, but I would say the main reason for me is what would always draw me to potentially be a part of one is I'm always focused on growth.
Hmm.
How do I become a better business owner? How do I become a better person? How can I help others do the same? And do you ever feel that with a group, a networking group that doesn't have a lot of traction or it's the same people, do you ever feel that it can get stale or what is it that keeps you motivated to keep that group going?
It's an interesting question because I have a recent um, experience of helping actually begin a few groups,
Mhm.
like, because groups will have, multiple groups within a certain area and people start new ones. And, uh, and I actually, was, uh, part of helping launch a group. And it was the hardest thing I ever did.
What was hard about it?
Trying to get people to understand why this is even interesting, getting to show up, getting them to commit, getting them to, and then also like, are these the right, because you don't want to just have, look, no offense to anyone, but not everyone is ready to take it on. In other words, if you're in a situation where you've got somebody who's just really in it for them, you can see like quote unquote prototypical salesperson, not really thinking about how to help others,
Mhm.
then maybe they're not quite ready. They need to go learn a little bit more. So you need to be able to say, no, not, thank you for applying, but we're not going to have you join our group.
Do you tell them why you're not gonna have them join the group?
For the most part, yeah, you're not a good fit. And if they ask more, then I would tell them pretty.
I know you would.
Um,
Do you think that there are f being in the Pacific Northwest, I feel we have more passive aggressive approach to
unlike the East Coast or something.
also are unwilling to accept genuine feedback.
Oh, that's a really interesting question. Um, no, no, I don't think people are less. I'll go with the last point you made. I don't think people are less interested in getting feedback. How they'll feel about it when they walk away from you. I mean, I don't have people that I speak to saying like, "I gotta go. This is not. How dare you?" Like that doesn't. And it's also about how you give feedback. People are less straightforward on the West Coast. It's just the nature of it. Like, I've lived in New York. I've lived in LA. I
Mhm.
lived in a few different places, and I've seen. I mean, I grew up in San Francisco, California, and I worked in places, and people would say to me, "Are you from New York?" Like literally, they would say, "Are you an East Coaster?" Because you've got this
Mhm.
straightforward energy. Um, so yeah, there is a very distinct difference. We first moved here. We go to the QFC, and it'd be like, I'm sorry, but are you done talking to this person for 2 minutes after you finish your transaction? Because you're all.
I experienced that this morning. I went somewhere this morning and they probably talked for a good 4 minutes
Oh, that's a long time.
and I just thought, I got places to be. Can we move this along? Or can you at least get me checked in so that you
Yeah.
can continue? I don't care if you continue your conversation. Can I just get checked in and
And
move
I don't
along?
want to say that people shouldn't be nice to each other. I'm not even suggesting that conversation in front of me shouldn't happen. I'm
Mhm.
answering your question.
Mhm.
If something's going on like that situation you're talking about, I would be the type to say, you know what? I want you guys to have a great morning and nice time talking to each other, but can I get checked in?
You
I
definitely
would
would be that
absolutely,
person.
and I think anybody
Absolutely.
should.
Yeah.
That's the kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
ask for what you need. Just do it in a way that doesn't make people feel like,
Direct but with compassion, I say.
correct.
Direct but
East
with
Coast,
yeah.
can we move along here? Come on. Can you have this conversation another day when I'm not in a rush? Whatever.
Yes.
Like that would be the East Coast. Go
Which
ahead.
is interesting because it makes me I'm now reevaluating my morning thinking there was a moment where I thought, Crystal, it's fine. Just, I'm over here telling myself it's fine when in reality it's okay. That's like the recovering, that's the people pleaser in me.
Yeah.
That's, hey, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but like you said, could have been a just simple, hey, could you just get me checked in real quick, please?
What was the check-in? What were you at?
I don't want to say.
Okay. So, but having lived in the East Coast, nothing against East Coasters, it's a beautiful experience to be so tightly
Mhm.
packed in, and you're on the subway and you got to get to a place and it's so hard to get there. Like, that's a really important. They say you should live, right?
Mhm.
Live in the all if you can live in New York, live in San Francisco, live in LA, like experience those things because it's a humanity. It's a place where you just have to tolerate each other.
Mhm.
I have to tell a quick story because you know my wife, Katie,
Love your wife.
what thank you, was, I love my wife. She loves me most of the time. She was going to school for, to NYU for the Tisch School of the Arts to get her master's in dance. And here's this little country, like mountain girl from Flagstaff, Arizona, living in the dorms, living in New York. And she used to go down to the postal shop, like the little to mail stuff, and the ladies would be sitting there. They're like, uh-huh, yeah, all right, whatever. You know, they were kind of like, move along.
Mhm.
No, never gave her the time of day. And she went in there all the time.
Mm.
But she'd always go in and be her like nice West Coast self. One day she's leaving to move her stuff. She's leaving for the summer. So she's
Mhm.
got, remember back in the day when the iMac was like this big
Yes.
and looked like, it was literally like carrying a TV tube. So she
Yes.
had this Mac box and she had to ship it because she was going to be gone. And she literally, it was hot. She carried it like 5 flights. She's crossing this whatever. She's this big thing. She walks in. She's like, poof. Oh my God, it's so hot today, and this thing is so heavy. Now she's a member of the family. She's like, I know, honey, isn't it terrible? Isn't it just suck? Oh my God, it's so hot today. Once she was like kvetching and
Mhm.
just telling it like it is, now she was a real person. Now she was sort of like,
Because she's now connecting on their level of how they connect.
right. Because they were just like, call it what it is.
Mhm.
It's a piece,
Mhm.
they sucks. It's terrible today. You're okay, honey. We'll take care of you. So bringing that back around, like just, yeah, like connect to people. And if you walk into a networking event and you are a newbie, just be yourself. Just be where you are and just, but there is something there's just like understanding how when you are thinking about others, it comes back tenfold. That's the essence of a powerful networking is just like, how can I serve others in a way that, doesn't necessarily directly benefit me, but I know somebody.
I want to say this too. I think about when you go into these networking events, sometimes a question I will ask folks is you go in and it's so easy for people to fall into the trap of asking, "What do you do for a living?" It's so boring to me to
Oh,
ask that. Yeah, what do you do
oh,
for a living,
brings up a
right?
good point.
It's, I want to get to know, okay, so you're a plumber. Okay, great. I have made my own generalization of who you are based off of what you're doing. And it's like, okay, you're a plumber. One of the things that I've shifted more recently when I meet new people is asking them, what are you excited about that you're working on right now? Because it gives you better insight of how people are spending their time, what they're doing. To me, it hits more home because it's easy to just say, oh, I'm a plumber versus, well, what are you excited about working on today?
I like that. Everybody needs to find their way of maybe getting a little beyond surface. Maybe is that kind of what you're saying? Is that
Yeah, I think so. It's how do you connect with rather than doing the surface level of, oh, here's what I do for a living, or taking it a step further and saying, how can I support you? A typical thing that I would run into is, oh, well, I'm a plumber, so you can send me anybody who has plumbing needs, send them my way. I'm out. I mean, okay, great. If I know somebody right now who needs a plumber, but I think sometimes it's getting more to you as the person, like, how may I be able to support you? Not just I can send business your way, but again, I think this goes back to like making genuine connections because that's something that I know you ask every time I see you. It's actually taking the time to get to know someone. It really hit me a couple years ago. I was invited to this tasting in Ridgefield, and I met Judy she was with the Fort Vancouver Library.
Oh yeah, I
Judy
know.
I'm killing her last name.
I
Either
know
way,
that.
you know Judy.
Yes.
And The thing about it is Judy kept asking me the whole night what I did for a living. I was like, it doesn't matter what I do for a living. I just want to get to know you. Like, tell me what you do for fun,
Oh,
you know?
interesting.
And it was just, it kept going. And it was one of those where it doesn't matter what I do for a living. Let's just make a connection here. And I think that's the first time I met her. And ever since then, that was one of the things I had such a great time just getting to know her as a person that I mean, she followed up with me. I eventually told her what I did for a living,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it really wasn't. I think that's the key about when you're networking. If you're at the point in your business where I just need to go collect business cards, I'm going to get as many cards as I can. But then you walk out of that room, you have 10 business cards, and you don't remember one thing about any of those people.
For me, asking someone if I've just met them, though this was something I was suggested, you know, if I met somebody, the suggestion was, hey, what can I do for you?
That's what you always say to me. That's what I was trying to think. You're always like,
Well,
what can I do for
and
you?
I would say that to you because I know you.
Hmm.
But if I just met somebody and it's an interesting suggestion, it's like, let them just take them off guard a little bit. That's the intention. And switch the conversation to how can I help you? Right. Rather than what is it that I need from you? Right.
Hmm.
I think it's a little people I've tried that and people can be a little bit put off like, this is weird. Like I just met you and but if they knew me,
Hmm.
so I think the approach I like to take is let's get to know this. I am genuinely interested
Hmm.
because I also want to know the person before I start saying how can I help them, honestly.
Right?
So
Yes.
this is one of the things
Yeah.
I do. It's just I don't remember where I learned it, but it works really interestingly. So let's say I just met you, and actually this might work in this case because I don't know the answers to these questions. All right. So hey, where do you work now? What do you do now today?
I work for myself.
You have your own business,
Hmm.
and that's like what industry you're working in here?
Uh, we do fractional CFO
Okay,
services.
cool.
Hmm.
What'd you do before that?
Uh, we, what did I do before that?
How
Where do
long
I
have you had
go?
your business?
A long time. 12,
12
13
years.
years, 12,
Okay.
13
And
years.
what'd you do before that?
I worked in property management.
Property management. How long were you in that?
Pro Now you're making me age myself.
It's okay. We all know
I feel like we've had this
you're a
conversation.
young
Yeah.
CFO.
Yeah, I did property management officially working for somebody else for probably about 10 years.
Okay. What'd you do before that?
What did I do?
School?
Oh my gosh. I did do school. I did loan processing for a reverse mortgage broker. It was an internship in college.
Interesting.
I did B2B sales.
Where'd you go to college?
Where did I go to college? I
What
went
town?
to Washington State.
What? And so you're from Washington originally?
No, I'm not from Washington. I get what you're
So what
doing.
I'm
Yeah.
saying is all you have to do is ask somebody, where are you at? So you can get that covered.
Hmm.
That's kind of but then what'd you do? How long have you worked there?
Hmm.
And the next thing you know, you're getting this instant life kind of track.
It's so good what you just did there because you're taking the time to actually get to know the person.
Yes. And it's easy. It's not a hard
All
it's
you're
and
doing
you're
is asking
all
questions.
you're doing is asking questions. You're asking questions about their history.
Hmm.
And what I find is that I get intrigued because I genuinely like, are you from Washington? I didn't know if you are from. Now, where are you from originally?
California,
What city?
Riverside,
Riverside,
Moreno
California.
Valley, Moreno
Okay,
Valley.
which is like Central
I
California,
was
right?
young.
What?
Sh- Yeah, I would
That's
say
is that
more.
SoCal?
It's Southern Cal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I know you're a Southern California lady, and there's just like all
It just opens up the
it
door for
opens up the
you.
doors for intrigue. I'm from California too. Oh,
Hmm.
really? Yeah, from Northern California. Oh wow, we have that in common.
I know you talk about San Francisco. I'm like, oh
Did I just
yeah.
mess it up by smacking the mic? I think I
No, you're good.
did.
You're good.
I'm
Yeah.
hiding it. Um, if nobody takes anything away from this networking exchange that we're
Hmm.
having, when you meet with somebody, consider just that track of questions, if it works for you naturally,
Hmm.
and see where it takes you. Because suddenly you're just talking to somebody about who they are and where they came from, and it'll interloop into like how you relate to that. You could have told me you were from the East Coast, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, people used to tell me I'm from the East Coast because I used to work at the San Francisco airport and I had to work fast and I had to be direct and I really use it. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Whatever. It's just,
Mm.
but I think that then once you have this sort of general idea of who they are and learning about them a little bit, then it can loop back to business or not.
Mhm.
But I think that you're right. I think that exactly what you're saying is I want to know the person. You talked to Judy, right?
Mhm.
You got to know her a little bit. And
Mhm.
then you got, the business comes from that because know, like, and trust, right? Like, I don't like to use those kind of terms, but you do business with people that you know
Mhm.
first, then you can decide if you like them, and then it'll lead to trust or not, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, like as in one of my sons, you figure your offspring are gonna be like you.
I always worried that if I had kids, they would get, like, the worst traits of my husband and myself.
It's true. That's exactly what they would do
Yeah.
because that's your payback,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to your parents. But it's interesting how
They're all great traits, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, I just bring it up because they don't walk into rooms and like just start talking to people, you know?
Your
Uh,
kids don't?
no. And
Do you think why do you think that is?
oh, because people are scary. Because, you're going through your own experience of like how to get to know people and the world is different. I mean, I don't know. I'm who I am, right? And I think that they're learning how to be in the world. And what are we talking about? We're talking like post COVID. They went through grade school in
Mhm.
COVID. It's a very different like
Do your kids ever get to see you in action?
no, not enough. And when they do, they're kind of like, "Wow, Dad." That's what I was going to say. I
Mhm.
just took the kids to go get some coffee for Katie at Nathan's Thatcher's.
Mhm.
And we walked out, and my son looked at me. He says, "Wow, you're really good with people, Dad." Like, oh, but it's important. I was at uh, Papa Murphy's yesterday,
Mhm.
and I call, and Katie said to me, "You call Papa Murphy's because you always and you know how to order. Well, so we spend less money when you call Papa Murphy's." And I do because I always ask them, "What are your specials? Can you add some stuff to the special for me?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, whatever, sir." Like they only put white sauce on the vegetarian.
It's kinda like that idea of don't ask, don't get.
Sure.
Mhm.
Just be nice and, they can always say no. So anyway, I called, I asked, and they said, "We have 3 summer specials, the vegetarian." And I said, "It has a white sauce, right?" He says, "Yeah." I said, "Can you put red sauce on it?" And I told the story like this, because this is exactly what happens. I said, I always forget to ask for red sauce, and I come home and they're like, "Dad, you forgot the damn sauce. Mom hates that sauce." So he laughed. He's like, "I think I can do it. I'm not supposed to, but I think I can. I'll just remember to put red sauce on it." So I get in there and there's these young guys and they're genuinely being nice and have customer service qualities. And I said to them, I said, "You know what? How long have you guys worked here?" Same question.
Mhm.
And oh, I just went to college. I worked for 2 years, but then I went to college and I came back. "Oh yeah, where'd you go to college?" He told me. He says, and then I just come back and I got the job right away because I needed a summer job. And the other guy says, "No, I've only been working here for like 3 months." And I said, "You know what?" I said, "They need to know that they're lucky to have you." And they kinda got this really big smile, and I said, "Why, sir?" I said, "Because kids are I mean, no offense to your generation, but kids are
Mhm.
having a tough time, like, talking and
Social
communicating and getting
yeah.
out, right?" He says and the one guy was really sweet. He said, "Yeah, that's why I took this job."
Really?
Kylie is his name, yeah.
Yeah.
Big old arms, man, 16-year-old, he had arms the size of my head. And he said, I wanted to learn how to talk to people."
I think it's also important for us to remember that, yes, this younger generation grew up with technology that we didn't grow up with. You've got social
Oh,
media, you've got
right,
smartphones. It's a different
100%.
time. And I actually think it's our job to engage with them, even kids that, you know, people that we don't know, one, it's just to practice, right? I have a good friend of mine who jumps all over my case because I go out of my way to talk to anyone and everyone. I'm practicing my skills of being able to just be able to build rapport with anyone at any time. Because to me, I think it's a special skill set to get. And how do you do it? Practice. And the easiest people to do it on? People you don't know. You could be at the store, in line, at the grocery store, and create a conversation with. You made some really great points about how to connect with people, or that you just practice it on me and just asking questions and just giving some people some tips that, especially if whether you're a business owner, you're in sales, or just in general, maybe you're somebody who does struggle with a little bit of anxiety. That was me for a long time. It just takes practice, and we got to get out of our comfort zone. And I just think you gave some great tips today, so I appreciate you.
1989. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. I gotta do that 90s thing. Boom. No, that's it. I'm done.